Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon to all those fantastic green women out there. We are so delighted to welcome you today. And today, on behalf of Green Women, I am exceptionally happy to be welcoming Dr. Tahmina Foyez to be talking to us about her fantastic topic. She wrote an amazing article in the recent Green Women publication that I was delighted to see. She's going to be talking about healing through science and about how science has the power to heal lives, to transform communities, and to inspire future generations. So, during the presentation, I'd like to remind you that this is a really safe space characterized by active listening and mutual respect. Our aim is to create a harmonious atmosphere where all voices can be heard freely and with empathy. Just a couple of ground rules before I ask Tahmina to speak. We're going to listen respectfully, allowing everybody who speaks to express themselves without interruption. During the main presentation, during the main talk, please avoid interrupting with comments and questions, and please keep yourselves on mute. There will be time at the end of Tamina's session for questions, and I will be monitoring the chat as we go. So please, if a question comes up and you really want to ask it at the end, write it in the chat, and I will keep a record of those and come to them at the end. We're also really thinking about empathetic communication. If you have an opinion that you'd like to express, we're doing it respectfully, without judgment, and we're not being offensive to each other. This is a space for building, for sharing, and for learning as a community. So, Tamina, I'd really like to give you this opportunity to introduce yourself. I always feel that we as women do not introduce ourselves well enough. So, this is your forum to please tell us all about what a fantastic person you are and this amazing research that you've done. Welcome to Green Women, Tahmina.
Hello, good morning to Colombia. Thank you for this opportunity. I am Dr. Tahmina Foyez, working as a professor and head in the Department of Pharmacy, United International University, Dhaka, Bangladesh, and and I finished my undergraduate and graduate from the University of Dhaka in the pharmacy, and then I finished my PhD from Japan's Nagoya University, where I worked on the neurodegenerative disease, and then I returned to my country to finish my PhD and work as the academician in a university and worked there 5 years. And after that, I went to the United States to do my postdocs, and there I worked on the hematology department under the project of sickle cell anemia. And then after doing my postdoc, I returned to my country and joined again in the academia and 2023. And in 2024, I received the uh, big fund, one of the biggest fund of my life. That is the ORS, that is the Organization for Women's Developing Country for Science, which is funded by the UNESCO. And I also received another fund from the UGC, which is funded by the World Bank, which is for the different project. So the fund that I received from the OWS, that is the turning point in my career, I can say that, because in this fund support me to fulfill my dream. So right now I'm working on the several projects, and the one of the project which is funded by the ORS UNESCO, that is the biocompatible self-healing hydrogels and promising antimicrobial and own healing applications. And in this project, if I want to say very briefly that with the collaboration with the another renowned university of the Bangladesh, BH, and my collaborator, Professor Dr. Abubin Imran. So we collaboratively working in this project, and we developed a hydrogels incorporating a biocompatible materials, and which is where we integrated the PRP, that is the one of the components of the our own the platelet rich proteins. We incorporate this PRP into these hydrogels and then apply on the wound healings, and then this hydrogel shows the prominent wound healing properties, and it also shows the promising antimicrobial activities. And this works is ongoing right now, and beside these works I'm working with several number of young researcher. In the next slide we can see that I have doing the several other project, like in the next slide please, Stephanie, will you? Yeah. So I'm working at the same times with the other young researchers and different projects, like evaluations of in vitro and in vivo biological activity and in silico analysis of Diospyros malabarica leaf extracts. So this is basically the we collect the leaf from the plant and then extracts the different fractionate it and isolated the different bioactive compound and take their antimicrobials and antioxidants activities, and then do the in silico analysis. And in this project with me working the Sharmin Ahmed and Sabia Tasmin, they both are working in my United International University in my department. And the another project of my right now is working on the, so in the next slide we can see that that is the investigation of antimicrobial resistance patterns and colistin resistance associated gene in Escherichia coli. So as we know that the one of the pandemic coming soon, hopefully in 2041, is antimicrobial resistance. So worldwide is one of the biggest threat that in my countries also is one of the biggest threat that antibiotics are becoming resistance. The microorganism are becoming resistant against the antibiotic day by day. So we are doing another projects that parallelly, that is, so we are investigating the resistant antimicrobial resistance patterns. One of the um, uh, antibiotic is a colostins, which actually used in case of severe complications in the ICU patients. So in this project, Fidusul Hogjoy working with me. He is another young researcher, lecturer in my department, and we are trying to find out the resistance patterns of the colistin resistance gene in Escherichia coli. So another project that we are doing, in the next slide we can see that this is another big fund which I received last years, which is funded by the World Bank. That is the, and in this project, my another collaborator is Professor Dr. Khandakar Abdullah Al Mamun, and in this project, actually, we are also trying to address the antimicrobial resistance pattern to reduce the antimicrobial resistance by using the AI driven systems. So in my countries, 80% prescription is still actually written prescription, and sometimes there may be some unintentional errors occurs. We are trying to address those, and sometimes patients are getting the antibiotic, but they don't properly complete that dose. So we are also trying to address that issue by developing some AI models so that they can get the reminders. So, and we also try to address the patients because community pharmacy is not that much flourished in my country. So In this project, we try to use the technology, AI technology, and want to address this different type of problem which can increase the antimicrobial resistance and others, reduce the prescription errors by this AI model. And last slide, another project is that breast cancer, which is one of the most common cancers in my countries, and we are trying to address the different polymorphisms, especially the VEGFs, and correlated the relationship with the polymorphism and syrup levels VEGF, so that we can uh, identify as a potential biomarker to identify the early stage the breast cancers. So these are the project actually I'm doing with a lot several young researcher, and in this project Rajiv Dash and Naushad Shadiz are working with me. So uh, many and this project is funded by IAR, and most several project actually I'm working right now with the several young scientists who are going to do their PhD in near futures, and I'm very glad to working with these young scientists. And besides applying my knowledge in the scientific field, I also want to share my knowledge with the young scientists to motivate them in science, especially the women. This is my family pictures. Okay, I can talk about them later. And yeah,
Tahmina, that was you've gone through so much information, and I'm talking as a non-scientist, so I'm going to ask you a few questions. I'm particularly interested, Steph, if you could have that last slide up again, where Tahmina was talking about her amazing research into breast cancer. This is something that has affected my family, Tahmina, a lot. My mother died from breast cancer. So it's something I've had a lot of personal understanding of. Could you say to me, I call myself a lay person, so someone who is not a scientist, could you talk to us a little bit more about exactly what yourself and your colleagues are doing to generate new research and exciting research into breast cancer, please?
so usually when actually breast cancer, most of the time we actually find the physician actually find the patient in the not very early stage. So the aim of this research to identify the biomarker so that the physician can diagnose the breast cancer very early stage, because if the identification occurs in the later stage, in that case the treatment becomes very difficult and complicated and costly. So in that case, if we can certainly identify with some specific biomarker, with the help of some biomarkers, the breast cancers is occurring or not, um, we can start the treatment from the very beginning. So in this research, actually, we collect the blood sample from the breast cancer patients, and we try to see the specific polymorphism. There occurs the different kind of genetic mutations in the breast cancer. So we know that if it's a genetically or sometimes it's sporadic, and most of the time it's genetically. So if the mothers is suffering from the cancer, breast cancer, the daughters or the next generation can have the same problem. So but the identification is not occurs in the very early stage. In that case, it becomes difficult to cure that persons completely. So the aim of our research to identify some specific biomarkers so that we can able to identify the disease from the very beginning.
That is fantastic, and I think I understand it a lot better. As again, I will say I'm a lay person, so I have only my family knowledge, not mine. So, could I ask you again on this topic? Do you notice any difference between different generations, different age groups? Are there more specific biomarkers, or across different cultures and countries? Have you been able to investigate whether something might be more prevalent in one part of the world to another, for example?
So in we are doing this in my country with the patients from my countries, but it's reported that in the others country they already have the studies and they found that this genes polymorphisms occurs in the level, but it could be different from the population to population. So I just want to see what happened in case of the population of my countries. It's
Mhm.
already done by the other scientists in the other countries, but we are actually trying to know what is actually occurring in my country. So this project is ongoing. We are just collecting the samples and the very preliminary stages. We starting this project in the last year.
Fantastic. That's really clear. And
Thank you.
is there also a difference again between, I think there's sometimes a difference. So I'm based in the UK and I'm based in London. So I have the huge advantage of being near to some amazing local hospitals and some amazing medical um, advantages. Do you notice differences in Bangladesh between women who are located in urban versus women who are located in rural environments?
Yeah, definitely there is a differences in the people, women um, uh, who are living in the urban area compared to the in the rural area, that uh, sometimes they even don't know why they are actually dying or sufferings, because they have the awareness is not reaching in that level in that area, and sometimes they actually don't know what is going with them, what's happening actually. And the treatment also in the urban areas and rural areas patients, they don't get the equals facilities in the hospitals.
Oh, that's really hard to hear. And please excuse me, I've not been to I've not had the joy of going to Bangladesh, although I've taught lots of people from Bangladesh. Um, is there funding for this kind of research for you? Is it hard to
Yeah,
get?
so this is funded by IAR, Institution of Advanced Research, from my institutions. Um, they are funding for this research project.
Fantastic. And I think it's also good as well to highlight that it's not just women that are involved in this research, that you do have male collaborators as well, which is fantastic because, of course, we want to be inclusive and fantastic. Um, Tamina,
Thank
this is thank you so much for giving us this information, and thank you for indulging me. As someone who has had a lot of breast cancer in their family, it's a topic that I find um, equally it's so vital because it's something that affects so many people in the world, and I think that the most we can do to support it and to support each other around the world. Um, do you have the opportunity? This is again a question that I'm just asking. Do you have the opportunity to collaborate with other professionals from educational institutions or educational backgrounds in other countries as well, like you yourself?
So I actually collaborate with different university and institution in my country, and I'm looking for some international collaboration also, which actually enrich my research area. I believe so. So hopefully in near future we may able to do some international collaboration. I have few, so I have some one collaborator in the Malaysia, but most of the collaborator we are now, right now in my countries.
Well, you know what? This is a great forum for, reaching out to collaborators or people who might know potential collaborators in other parts of the world. So, can I encourage our Green Women community? If you are either somebody who could potentially collaborate with Tahmina or knows somebody who could, this is our opportunity to work together, because this is such a vital part of research. And I cannot, thank you so much for speaking to me and in language that I understand. That's really, really helpful. Um, I have a few questions for you, Tamina, that I've come up with, and I'd love you to be able to talk to our audience, our global audience here, about them. So the first one is that you are a female researcher. You work mostly within Bangladesh, but you're reaching out to our global community here and our different cultural community here. What have been some of the biggest challenges that you personally have faced, and how have you overcome them?
Okay. For my higher education, I need to move from my country to at first Japan to do my PhD. And actually, very frankly speaking, honestly, that I was very family uh, um, uh, homesick and family oriented. I never stay anywhere. mm, uh, Except my home. The Japan is the first country I moved after get married, and when I received my PhD, and my husband need to get back from the Japan for his job purpose, so I need to stay there alone. So it was a very challenging for me at that time to stay there alone, because it's the first time for my life, and I was supposed to come back from Japan to my country because the very beginning it's very difficult as a women's young women to stay there, and the culture is different. Working environment and culture, everything is different in Japan's, and I must say that my husband actually encouraged me, support me always to stay there and complete my PhD. And after 1 years later, actually, I completely adjusted myself over there, and I finished my 4 years PhD over there, and I actually learned that when there comes any challenges, actually it's we need to take that, because if we take that challenges, actually that actually learn us how to become strong, how to fight, and that actually grooming us any kind of challenges in there, and that actually developed our capability, and help us to know what we can do, how much we can do, and how far we can go as a woman. And when I moved to the USA, Japan and USA are completely different. Both are completely different from countries, and their working culture is different. So I learned a lot from them. Beside the scientific knowledge, I learned the different kind of culture diversity, and when I returned to my country, actually, I found that every challenge is actually one of the learning step for me, because as a woman in research, there is not only the working environment challenges. That is another thing is, beside the professional responsibility, there is also the family responsibility we have, and we need to balance actually always. We need to overcome all the challenges, because working in different countries also taught me the importance of humanity, lifelong learning. No matter
Hmm.
actually how much knowledge we gain, there is always something new to learn from the different diversified environment, different colleague, students, and different culture.
I think that's so true. And um, can I ask a question I hadn't planned to ask? Because just something that you just said there, Tamina. I think that also as women, sometimes the family responsibility that we
Yes.
have, particularly if we're living or we've spent time living in a different country or a different culture or a different part of our own country, can be that can be a real challenge, especially if, like yourself, you're such an educated professional. That balance between managing your family with your husband, and then your family with your parents and your background as well. How have you managed to balance those different elements along with being with your educational research?
So, to balance the professional responsibility and the family responsibility, actually, it's not like that we have to every time I can do everything perfectly, but I need to actually set the priority, which one I need to do right now, which one I can do later. So maybe sometimes everything cannot occurs very smoothly, perfectly, but we need to balance and we need to set the priority, actually, which one I need to do right now, which one I should give the priority list top.
Yeah, I think that is quite a thing, and I think that's something that's really important to talk about in general. Is that maybe the idea of having everything all at once is just not possible, and actually, do we really want it? It's sometimes managing and going, okay, this needs to take priority today or this week or this month, but another time something else can take the priority as well. Um, what would be your message, Tahmina, to people who are a little bit younger than you, a little bit less experienced, you people who are just starting out with their educational degrees, just starting out to work in science? What would you give them as some advice?
So I just want to give a message to the young women that we have to believe in ourselves and to keep moving. So never ever situation can be perfect for everything. Whatever the situation, we need to accept that. We have to always keep learning and stay curious, and never actually underestimate our potentiality, our capability, and never afraid to be failed, because from the failure, actually, I think uh, as we know that failure is the pillar of success, actually, definitely that is true. From the failure, actually, we can write the we can get the right pathway for us, which way we should need to go, what we need to do. So that we have to be focused and hardworking and dedicated, and also need to believe in ourselves that we can do.
That is such wonderful advice. And can I build on that by saying to you, you're talking about, balancing and, working through hard situations and failures. Yes, because we all do fail and things go wrong, and that's okay. That's a natural part of learning and about developing as a person, as an educator, and as a professional. So, what advice would you give to a young female scientist or a young female potential scientist who is really struggling? What would you suggest for them? What would be your top three pieces of advice?
So for the young scientists, I just want to say that you have to keep learning and you have to be curious, that and looking for the right mentor, and hardworking. There is no actually alternative of the hardworking. uh, so in the beginning of your career, so we have to have work whatever actually we have. We don't need to wait for a very right moment or the right opportunity, that somehow everything will be more organized and we will start that. Nothing like that. Actually, whatever we have to move on with that capability or capacity, actually.
And you know, going back a little bit to what you were talking about balancing roles, how do you, Tamina, remain resilient when things are going wrong? or things are more challenging than you expect?
So when something is having challenges, or if I fail to do anything, actually, I actually always no, try to repeat the things and try to find out what's the reasons to failure. How can I overcome the challenges, to find out to get the way to do that in fruitfully. And if it is finally failed, then I accept that failures, and try to get another new way to discover some things or to solve the problems actually.
So from that, I'm getting that you're saying that, failure is part of life and it's okay to do it. It's how you deal with the failure as opposed to failing itself. Is that right?
Yes, right.
Fantastic. What a lovely lesson to say to people. Now, thinking about your research in particular, you focus on developing technology which improve healthcare and making treatment more accessible and effective. How do you see science contributing to a more sustainable and equitable future for society?
So no, for me actually science has the power to create a healthier and more sustainable and equitable future by transforming the innovative ideas into the solution to improve the um, people's lives actually. So whatever we are innovate, whatever we are trying to discover, and ultimately we like to improve the healthcare systems, or we like to improve the people's life. And my research focus on developing advanced healthcare technologies that are effective, safe, and accessible to the peoples. And I believe that the scientific progress should not remain only in the laboratories or publication, but should reach to the communities, and that can benefit to the societies also. And I also, beside my scientific research, I also always trying to motivate the young researcher, and promoting the collaboration so that we can build a future's scientists who actually going to the next generation innovators for their respective field actually. So
I
I
love
always,
that.
yes.
Yeah, building a future for future scientists. And I used to be a primary school teacher, so that's children in the UK under 11, and I taught a little bit of science, but not really, not really science. But I think that just getting people interested and just getting people asking why and how
Ah,
is sometimes really important. I don't know about you. Um, Tamina, you have been so generous with your time, and I'm sure that maybe there might be some other questions that Steph, you might be able to say from our community. Um, but just one last question I had from you. You talk about your dream of establishing a laboratory, a research laboratory, despite the challenges there are with funding and the challenges there are with infrastructure. Um, what motivates you to keep going when there are these big blockades, these big challenges in your way?
okay, thank you for your question. Actually, when I actually returned from the Japan after doing my PhD, I actually come with a lot of hope that the research I do over there actually, that kind of facility was not available in my country actually, to be very honest. And there was no opportunity I don't have any fund that times. I'm talking about 10 years ago actually. There was I don't have any fund that time. I just freshly returned from Japan in my countries and joined in a university as academician. But behind my mind and head that that I always ask myself that what I have learned last first year, where should I apply those knowledge actually? So I'm just doing the general teaching professions in the university, but the research, the technology, I learned that where should I apply those knowledge because I don't have facilities, I don't have fund. Then what should I do? And from that time actually I'm thinking looking for the funding that if I receive some fund and then I will establish a lab where I should actually teach the young researchers or keep the all the facilities so that the researcher who actually return from the developed country after doing their PhD and postdocs in my country, they can get that environment, that world class environment of research technologies in my countries also, and they can explore their scientific areas. So that actually motivates me to establish my own research labs where actually I do my own research, and beside I get others young researcher will get the opportunity to do their research also. And because I cannot grow by myself alone, I have to grow with all the community, all the peoples, and that will be the real success of the life, I think.
Oh, that's fantastic. I feel that's a very inspirational point. Steph, did you have any questions from any of our people who are watching live?
Yeah, I'm checking in the Facebook the questions, but I think so. Sometimes the people Latin America they are shy, but for me, I don't have question. I just only say congratulations for this job because this is really amazing, and this is important to share all women's because when you talk about your history, when you talk about your motivation, inspiration, and you follow your dreams, and you talk about your challenge and how you are resilient, we connect with another women because sometimes behind the scenes we have the same issues, the same problems, the same resilience, and the same challenge. And I think so. This is for the space we talk about it because we can feel that, and we can show how is the similar process we have, and we stay together and try to the results and to do the networking with someone they say you way, for example. I mean, I know, right? The science, and they try to fund the research and everything. And I think so that is really important because when you talk about the cancer of the breast, it's really common. For example, in Bolivia, they have the same issue, and it's really important to talk about how it's happening in another part in the world, how it's happening in Bangladesh. It's the similar situation we have Bolivia, with the similar situation we have Colombia. We can say different numbers about the women have the cancer, but we have the same topic and maybe the same habit. I don't know. We can see the food, we can see the genetic, but we can see this is affect all the women, not just only one culture, and we can try to find the solution about this, so we can work together to find the solution. And maybe we have a little bit science different, but we have different methodology, and we can share with you, and you can share with us because you've been in Japan, and Japan is really evolutionate about the science and everything. And this is amazing because for you, you can see how is the Japan culture, how is your culture, how you can mix it, and how you can do the match for this one. And I don't want to forget. I think so. For me, it was really amazing session, and I want to share again because you put in your slide your family, and it's really important. And
Yeah.
and if you want to say something,
Please tell us about your family.
Yeah,
yes.
I have a small family, my husband and my two kids. Right now, they are knocking at my door actually, and my son is uh, my one son and my daughter. My son is right now reading in class 5, and my daughter is reading in class 3. And they need to stay at home sometimes alone because we both are working. My husbands are also academicians and researchers. One of my collaborator also my husband, and he's in Department of Chemistry. So actually, I believe that sometimes our children actually not learn from our words always. They actually learn from our actions. They see actually their mothers is dedicated, responsible, and doing some. In her careers, I think that actually motivate them that um, they can think that one day their dream also will be successful. They will actually believe in themselves. I believe so that when they see me and when they see my dedication, that will bring the dedication in them also. They will learn from our action also. I believe so. And I would like to thank my family because without their supports, my parents in-laws, actually it's not possible for a woman to actually go beyond some extent actually.
Stephanie, I think that what just Tamina just said about they learn from our actions rather than our words, that almost should be the tagline of this whole presentation, because I think that's just not about what Tamina says about her wonderful family and they look so beautiful, but also about what she's doing. People should be learning from what she's doing. Of course, what she's saying is amazingly important, but all these amazing achievements that she's done and all this such vital research, it's those actions.
Yeah, yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah, definitely is fantastic. And actually, this is another part they like to share because it's not just only women in the size, it's women in the family, women has the kids, women has how we include or integrate everything about the women's inside in this space. So I don't have any more questions, and the chat it was free. So you want to share more, Tamina? It's up to you to close the session and everything.
Yeah. I would like to say to all those young researchers that just to believe yourselves that because if you believe in yourselves, then you can do the impossibles into the possibles, and don't be disappointed and don't afraid about the failure.
That's really perfect. Thank you, Hannah. So that's
And
your
I
turn.
also like to thank the Green Omen magazines for giving me the opportunity to show my journey, and I'm very privileged. I'm feeling honored to have this kind of platform to show my research journey. Thank you so much, the Green Omen.
And I would really like to thank you, Tamina, for all your, not just your presentation and the way that you've answered our questions so thoughtfully and with such elegance and grace today. Um, I personally found it, I love listening to people who are not just knowledgeable, but also passionate about the things that they talk about. um, it's really inspiring, and listening to someone like you is so inspiring, and thank you for all that you do and all that you continue to do, and thank you for opening yourself to come into this forum and speak to us internationally. I mean, even between you, myself, and Steffi, we're in 3 different continents, between Asia and Europe and South America, let alone all the people who are part of our community. So I just think, I know that for you, it's quite a lot later in the day. Here in the UK, it's just before 4 o'clock in the afternoon. and for Steph, it's quite early in the morning, about 10 o'clock. And it's amazing how much we can do together when we work together. And thank you so much. Please continue, continue to share what you're doing already, and continue to share with us, because we'll be so excited to see what you're doing next. And thank you so much for taking the time this evening, it must be for you, to talk to us at Green Women about what you're doing and all your amazing research. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you so much, and remember, you wherever time you have, the magazine is open. You share you researching and all the advances, how is your projects and everything, because we want to see, and we want to share this part of the continent, and Hannah too. So yeah, I mean, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful, for me, morning, night, afternoon.
Afternoon here.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and have a
Thank you, everybody.
Have a nice
Bye.
day. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you, Tahmina.